Live here just right now. Hello, everyday leaders. This is Melanie Ake, and I am here with you today, officially out of some of my Facebook group jail. I think I've been released in some of my groups. I'm so excited. So that means I can actually post in my groups, and I think I can post a link to share some things from other people. Like, I love to celebrate people. So when I got put in jail from Facebook this week, I about flipped out because not only physically I had to be quarantined, but now virtually. And it was making me a little bit crazy on how to strategize what I needed to do, which is I'm a connector. It really threw me back, and so here I am preaching positivity, and I had to get a little bit of it on my own. And that's what it teaches us, right? So many things in this world. So through all of this, I have been really wanting to connect even deeper because there's so many things that we're doing that are great, and we need to uplift and support and share. And so, my friend Dennis LaRue, thank you for joining us today on Personal Growth Live.
Oh, Melanie, it's so great to be here. You know what's really funny about is I hope you were allowed more than one phone call, but if you weren't, I know
This is like playing
that
an Atari game.
we talked.
Oh, there you
Okay,
go.
are we back?
That's better. It was like an Atari slow motion game. I was like, I was waiting for it to come back in. Okay, say all that over again.
Okay, what I was saying is congratulations on getting out of Facebook jail. I felt privileged. I hope they gave you more than one phone call, but if they didn't, I know I was your one phone call.
You're one of the first ones. I was like, help. It's crazy. I didn't realize, Dennis, that there are people that have been banned from Facebook on groups for 6 months or even a year. I thought, are you kidding me? I don't know. I mean, that's not Facebook is not the only way that I communicate, but it's one of the main sources that I have developed my group platform on because so many people that are doing what we do and that want to get their messages out are still on Facebook. And I don't think it's just generational. It's a great platform to help you develop groups and develop people that really have the same mindset, like LinkedIn is doing now. So I really just kind of got like, how do I communicate? And so this platform with StreamYard, it pushes right to all the social platforms, but I don't sign in. I probably should be quiet on my secrets, but I'm not signing into those, right, with my ID. So it streams the live feed, and so there's something that you can do to overcome an obstacle. And that is my message today is it happens to the best of us that are so positive that say, I'm going to get through it. What took me a couple of hours and I thought, I'll go to StreamYard. So this is the way that I can help celebrate others. If I can't post your link, I can get you on here and we can really share your energy and your story. So anyway, here you are. And I'm going to now let Dennis take it away.
I love it. And you helped me with this. I downloaded this myself today. So, you've heard me talk about my rule of 5, where I do 5 things every single day. And one of them is grow. And so you helped me do that one thing today by helping me grow and learning something new and a new platform. So I can't wait to, oh my, here we are in this
You're welcome.
season. We were we were just talking before we got on about a day that'll live in a virus, and what a light to me, the best advice that's ever been given to me. Everybody asks people, hey, what's the greatest advice you've ever received? And I remember a pastor when I was stationed in my Air Force one for 4 years. Oh, I loved it. 4 years. He said the best I received to be pray or die at a moment's notice.
Mm.
And hasn't this season really brought that, especially when it comes to, I've been saying this all along, and I kept hearing it over and over again in my prayer time and I don't think anybody with that anymore.
Wait.
I don't. There we go. I'm back. It's a reset season for me, and that my task was to write down everything I'm doing because Mel, you and I, we're busy little beavers. We are bees. We're connecting. We're talking to people. We are constantly doing. And this was a reset season for me to sit back. What are you doing? And start marking off the stuff that might be good, but it's not what is going to you need to be doing when we come through this. So it's kind of coming through this head of where I'm supposed to be. And for others, it's a reset season. They don't take that time. Maybe they've never sat down and said, what should I not? They're not spending time with their families, but also they're just constantly at work. They're constantly doing things. And so it's a reset for them to get focused on what's important. And it's going to shift. There's going to be so many shifts that come out of this. I mean, think of this. Look at the education system.
Mhm.
What's going to happen when we get through this, when everybody's at home already doing either homeschooling or online training and those things? I mean, I'm a product of online schools. I did my bachelor's and master's degree in my Air Force career online.
Mhm.
That's going to change. How is church? Church is going to change. There are churches that are, I'm sure, struggling right now trying to figure out how can I meet with my people?
Mhm.
About that earlier too. People using Zoom. I know to the San Antonio, and they laptop were given a laptop loaded with Zoom so they could connect to the Sunday services and the small groups throughout the week that people are involved in.
What a great idea.
So yeah, so it's all about thinking outside the box, which Mel, you're good at. You and I talk about this all the time. It's thinking outside the box because that's where growth is. If you're inside the box, you're not going to grow.
Mhm.
When you're outside the box, that's where growth is. And people are going to call you crazy. How many people are saying Zoom's crazy now? Or online conferencing and all of those things.
Mhm.
So, what's the next next crazy idea that everybody's going to say, "Oh, that's crazy. I'm not doing that." In preparation for what's next.
Mhm. There's so much out there.
We're only scratching the surface.
Mhm. I know. I want to talk to you real quickly about what is going on in your life as a coach. I'm going to put your information.
Remember watching a
Your poor connection.
movie one time about
It sounds like the law of the rubber band. It is having a hard time connecting. I'm waiting. I know it's gonna come right back. That's who we have with us today, Dennis LaRue, and, this is how you can contact him while we're waiting for the connection to come back on here.
Basketball.
I am not sure. I am not sure that it's coming through. However, so Dennis is, if you cannot hear him, I think he's coming back on. Let me disconnect this other stream. Let's connect this stream. Are we here? Are you there?
Are
Let's do a side by side and see which one's better.
Did I make it?
Oh, you're here. There you go. You were really
There we
like
go.
slow motion again. So, so you have to go back through everything you just said. So
You know, where we're at, we're just the tip of the iceberg. And it reminded me of a movie where a coach ball. So pretend this racquetball is a basketball for a minute. And he said, this ball represents everything that there is to know about the game of basketball. And then he said, everything outside the ball is everything that's yet to be discovered. Then he called for the team and said, that dot represents everything you know combined. And the point he was making was you need to be teachable and open to discovery and growth, because there's so much that has not been discovered.
Mhm.
And that goes with ourselves, with coaching. How true is that of just self-discovery and self-reflection? How much self-awareness we think we have, and then we discover something new, which untangles a whole new web of things to be discovered.
Yep. When people have not ever grown personally, maybe professionally, but not personally, there's a huge difference. And I think, our message is it can make a greater impact on your professional life if you really focus on the personal aspect. And that's what we've learned, and that's what we're continuing to help others learn. And I think it's so valuable because things really get easy, not maybe uh, red carpet easy, everything in life just kind of falls in your lap. But what it is you begin to see clearer. And as our mentor says, what you view, you do.
Yes. And he also told us that climb is uphill. And right now the climb is steeper than normal. And in order to get to that hill, you've got to lean in further. You might even be clawing up the hill, but you got to be moving up the hill.
Got to be moving up the hill. Got to be moving up the hill. Hey, I put on the front tag here your connection for people to connect to you, because Dennis is a coach, like many of us. But if you need to reach out to Dennis, he's in the San Antonio area. And so you can use this Calendly link right here on the screen. Dennis LaRue, HTTPS, calendly.com/Dennis LaRue. And then LDR is for his company, Leaders Develop Relationships. So this is what you need to do. Contact Dennis for this. And I want to share with you, most of you don't know this, but through all of this chaos and quarantine and craziness, his wife Jamie has been making masks for the healthcare workers. And so she's been busy sewing. And so I wanted to share also her link on Etsy because she is selling her mask. And she's given away a lot of these, but I want to celebrate her as well because this is really critical. I just had a friend. Many of you know that we have a sailboat, and up in Michigan City we have our marina friends, and so last night I had a little um, time to share with them, and I got them all on Zoom. And one of the nurses said that she goes in Chicago. She still works in Chicago at the hospitals, and they had just opened up McCormick Place Center for patients. So now, if you think about if you've ever been to a conference in Chicago and you know where McCormick Place is, that is now being used as one of these facilities around the country that is going to be for patients. So it's this is getting really really important for us to pay attention to. So I want to celebrate Jamie on on what she's doing. Let me get into these comments here, and I'm going to post this for you guys so that if you want to support Jamie, you can you can go on here and help. Look at what she's doing on Etsy, and let me post it here, and then I'll be able to see it. Here we go. It's all this technology.
And one caveat: Jamie's been doing amazing things with these masks. It's incredible. As a matter of fact, my son Alex and I have been basically employed by her to help her. I'm not a sewer, so I'm doing some of the logistics type things. But she has been so busy. So if you go to her link will basically tell you, "Hey, I'm on vacation for a couple. Don't let that hinder you because she's just out to the order she has. She's just about there." Send her an email, and the message tells you in the email or the messenger to messenger and different styles and patterns, and then those orders as she gets them in the order she gets them.
That is wonderful.
It's just amazing.
What a great thing. Yep. I mean, I think everybody is trying to figure out what we can do to help, right? What is it that we can do from our own perspective? If, maybe we've been traveling for years, like a lot of my friends, and they haven't even been in their own community. And so once you change your environment, you start to learn what's really important and valuable. And so just start asking, how can I show up? What can I do to help? And I think you'll learn a lot and you'll connect even deeper to the things that are going on. Maybe it's just delivering food. Maybe it's calling your church and checking in on some of your elder members. Maybe it's just checking in on your neighbors, or developing. Here in our community, we have bears they've been putting in windows to show, just to say hi. And for the kids, when they're walking around the neighborhoods, to have a little bit of joy, right? When they're trying to get out and get some exercise to make it fun. Another neighbor said to put colors for the elderly to tell them, if you need help or you need a prescription or you need food or you need anything, put a yellow piece of paper on your door so that we know to check on you, right? It's great. Or a green for like everything's okay this morning, I'm good. But I just think there's a lot of creative ways that we can do things that may impact the future, right? In people that I think about the people that are
Hmm.
living by themselves, and so what would be those ways that we can communicate um, outside? right? So you just don't know. Those things, like Mark Cuban said last night. Yeah, Mark Cuban said last night, there are things that were created in 9/11 that we're all doing now, right? And so it's the time to really think, where are the gaps, and where do I say there's a lot of pain here because this is a broken system, or we don't have it available yet.
So good. I saw posted during the 2008 housing market, things that we're using today, Airbnb, WhatsApp, Venmo, were all created during that time. So we're now moving forward to the next great household brands and technological tools. For right now, we're in that set for those ideas. I'll be honest with you, I hope I have one of those ideas.
Well, you never know, you know? That's what this stuff is for, right? I mean, that's exactly why we have these discussions, because we know as leadership coaches, when we have masterminds, this is where the gold is, right? You have a discussion with people
Mm.
that you care about, that you trust, that you say, "Wow, we just got creative on deeper thinking into something."
Oh, absolutely. Masterminds are so critical. And for my faith-based friend, the mastermind existed back in Jesus' day. He sent them out in twos. They never went out alone. They always had a group. They worked together. And Jesus,
Mhm.
and so if he did it, we all say we want to be like him. Okay, get in a mastermind group. Get people around you, and build one another up, and ask those tough questions like Mel asked. Don't ask, put how in front of it, not and what can I do. Ask those open-ended questions so you can think through the answers.
Mhm.
Here's a great question for you to answer in this time. How often have you said, I don't have enough time for fill in the blank? Because that's been answered. And if you're not doing it, then maybe. So what is? Who is?
Mhm. Mhm.
And who's in your circle? Who's in that circle? And you would like to have this person in this group. Who would that be? What would you be studying? We love. Well, I mean, John Maxwell is big for both of us. And the 15 laws of growth. Come on, Mel.
Hey, I have a class that starts
That's our
tomorrow
baby.
night.
That's our favorite. There you go.
Yes.
There's mine. This is my copy. It says 15 valuable laws. It's been read 15 times. I mean, it's I write in when I read it, and the colors it so I get a different idea each time. Get in groups like that get you thinking differently, challenges old ways of thinking, creates new ways of thinking, and between all of us, I mean, we might call it brainstorming. Some people call it brainstorming, and that's certainly a part of it. But it's deeper. It's taking ideas and watching that energy. I can guarantee you the Amazon and all these things that started off with a couple of guys getting together, talking an idea, and then testing it. Test the ideas, things that you're learning. That's just I can't say enough about masterminds. I love leading them. I know you do, Mel, group, because insider information. I stick. She bleeds. If you were to cut Mel, she would bleed two things that I know about her. She would bleed green because of this, but she would also bleed scripture.
Mhm.
She would bleed those two. And I'll tell you what, that's a great combination. O negative may be universal, but I can't think of anything more universal than bleeding that either.
Okay, so I have to use a Chip Baker phrase here. If you were at the leadership summit, when you said, "Oh, negative," right? And what he said in his presentation, which was so great, which was for those people, those naysayers, right? Oh, negative. And maybe we can get their blood type to be positive. I just loved it.
Confession, my true blood type is O negative. That's so
No
good.
way. No
Be
way.
positive.
No way. I love it though,
Get
right?
away. Yeah.
Because it's our DNA. It's how we're
Yes.
designed. And so what are we really going to show up as? And so I think it's really important that as leaders, you've been on my podcast, Dennis, you were on my podcast last year and brought significant value. And listeners said, "Oh my gosh, this guy gets it." Military trained in the Air Force, a leadership coach, everything that you're doing to bring value, wanting to connect to coaches and athletes and so at that level, influencing leaders that are developing leaders, that's your company. Right? Leaders develop relationships. It's powerful.
Absolutely. And the number one relationship you develop is with yourself first, because you can't give what you don't have.
Ah,
So it
such
starts
an
with
important
you.
part. Yes.
It starts with you, and it's the lid. When you start with you and you invest in you and raise that lid, the people underneath you here, instead of hitting the lid, are coming with you. And I would say I want them to pass my lid. I want them to pass me, because then I want them to do this. Be in the container anymore. I want them outpouring everyone around them and influencing everybody around them, equipping leaders who equip leaders who equip leaders who equip leaders for generations.
Absolutely.
We don't
I've
start.
just put a
If you and I was reading that this morning, if we don't start with us, transformation, and if it doesn't start with us, it'll never get to them, or at least it won't get to them through us. It'll get to them from somebody else, because they'll go to somebody else. The ones that really want it will go to somebody else. The ones that don't won't. So in this season, I'll be honest with you, it drives me crazy trying to be still sitting in a chair. I love reading. And so when I'm focused on reading, it's okay. But to just be in the chair and be still and think or listen or meditate, but I've been working on it, working through it, because that I need, in the direction that I need to go, that God wants me to go, is in those moments. Activity, it's in the listening.
Mhm.
And then once you listen,
And
then you get
how
active. Then you do
well,
what he said.
and how many times do we say, "I haven't had time to reflect"? Oh, I could do all that, but you don't understand my life. You don't understand what I have to deal with. Dennis, I have kids at home now. My spouse is home and they've always been gone and we don't know how to deal with this. It's been 3 weeks and we're trying to figure it out. Right?
Oh, and that's so true. I remember when I retired from the Air Force, my wife was used to be getting up in the morning and not coming home until 6 o'clock at night. So she only saw me for a few hours. Within weeks of retirement, she's like, "I need you to go find something to do here." We were driving each other crazy. So I get that piece, and being in the house and stirred up. This isn't in that time within, for that reflection time. This is an opportunity to communicate. I need a few minutes alone. I'm going to go up to my office, or I'm going to go to my favorite chair, or I'm going to be in the living room for a few minutes. Find something to do, or have that quiet time too. Just a few minutes. That's all I need. I discovered an app that would be really helpful to people. It is called, let me pull up my phone real quick, make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
It's for meditation. I think it's called, there it is. It's called the 1 Minute Pause app. 1 Minute Pause. And it's an app that you download it and you practice for 1 minute. And the person, you don't have to have any sound. There's music, and it's time for a minute. And he'll say some positive thoughts for you to think about. And at the end of the minute, he says, you're done. And it goes to 3 minutes, and you build up to 10 minutes. It's just started. Yeah, the 1 minute pause app. It's all of us have 1 minute. We waste that long looking in the refrigerator trying to figure out what we're going to eat. Right? Or the food pantry. Which snack am I going to eat? 1 minute. It's only 1 minute. And it'll seem like forever at first, but as you get going along, it's with everything else, with stretching. When you stretch, but after you do it for a little bit, the muscle's like, okay, we're used to this. Now we're ready to stretch again. So you've got 1 minute. You can do 1 minute and just listen. And as you go through that process of listening and reflecting, eventually you get to the point where you won't need the voices or be able to do it and listen. Because what we're doing is we're getting in rhythm. There's a rhythm to life. God has a rhythm of grace, rhythm of worship, a rhythm in prayer. There's a rhythm, and you know it. Those of you that know, you know it, and you know it when it happens. For me, here, I know when I'm in rhythm when my spider sense is tingling. I know that. I just know. But in order to find that rhythm, you've got to be still to catch the rhythm. And in order to know what the rhythm doesn't sound like, listen, a musician who knows how to tune when it is slightly out of tune. I'm not that guy. I love the sound of music, but I can't tell you how to fine tune a guitar. I can't tell you any of that, or a piano, but an expert can. And they weren't an expert at first. It took time. But when they catch that tune, they know it right on. At first, you're not sure what that tune's like. You're out the tune, the more likely you are to recognize it when you are out of tune. Think of it this way. If you're forcing it, here's a great way to determine if you're in tune or not. If you're having to force it, you're out of tune. If you're forcing the action, you're out of tune. Just like an athlete. When you're on the court and you force the action, sometimes the entire play is out of rhythm. The team is out of rhythm because you're a little bit ahead of the game, and you're not running the play the way it was designed to be played. And we can be that way too. Pause is teaching us that 1 minute pause teaches you in rhythm, get in tune, and not force the action. It's going to feel awkward at first, just like everything else we did for the first time. But over time, when you get in tune, you're going to know what direction to go, and sources around that. But that's a good way to start. Many services, they'll read their Bibles, they'll even pray, but they don't listen. They don't pause to listen. This is an opportunity to add that critical piece to your spiritual growth.
So important.
Does that make sense, Mel?
Oh yeah. It's one of those chapters, right? 15 laws. Here we go. Reflection. And you have to build it in. That's the thing. I think a lot of people are saying, well, how do I do that? You don't understand the stress I have right now. But it is taking time for you and saying, great, well, turn your phone off for an hour, right? Does that panic people when we say that? Turn your phone off for an hour and just have time for you? It's a big one. Oh, I think I lost you again. It's going slow. I do want to, as we're trying to make sure we've got the connection here, I wanted to share Dennis's wife, Jamie's little project. So, for those of you that may have not seen this in the beginning, we shared this, but I want to share it again real quick because she is doing some amazing things to put together some masks for our healthcare workers. So, I'm going to post this in the chat and as I'm showing it. And I'm also going to go to the website so that you can see it. So here we go. Let me see. Oh, hello, hello. Yes, you have to build and prioritize. So, talking about prioritizing, I want to share with you what Jamie LaRue is doing. Oh, that's Dennis's. Hold on just a second. Here we go. Going back to here. All right. So, Jamie's Little Jewels on Etsy. So, for those of you that have just joined or that are following, I'm going to put this up here, but I'm going to share the website. So, if you went to Etsy and you saw Jamie's Little Jewels, here's how you can order mask, or you can, buy this and put an order in for people that are needing healthcare mask right now. Some of the healthcare workers that I have been in connection with have told me stories recently that they have one mask that they have been issued by their hospital, and they have been told to take it home and wash it and bring it back. So on every shift, they're using the same mask. So this is why it's so important. And this is what Jamie LaRue is doing. And bring it up here. All right. So this is her website. Right here, she has the surgical mask. And Dennis, can you? Yes. Jamie's Little Jewels. This is her. This is what it's going to look like when you go there. And I just want to make sure if there's anything at all that I am missing. Can I hear you, Dennis? Oh, I can't hear your audio. But I wanted to really promote this because there's a lot of healthcare workers right now that we are, we're in need of your help. So if you have time, if you want to donate to this cause so that she can make these masks for our healthcare workers, or if you want to order some yourself, that way you can, make sure that we're being safe in this environment. But this is how you can find it. So Jamie's Little Jewels. Oh, it's Jamie's Little Jewels. There's an S in there. Sorry. There is an S in there. Jamie's Little Jewels uh, on Etsy. All right. So, Dennis, are you back yet? I don't know that I can hear you. Oh my goodness. I think we've lost you. Um, Doggone it. That's okay. That's okay. Here we go. I'm going to try to add you back in here. And I will stop sharing. See if I can add Dennis back in here. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you fine now. Great. So,
Don't know why the phone didn't work. We'll get it figured out.
no problem.
You know what? I know what I did. I forgot to turn the sound back on. That's why. I tell you.
There you go. There you go. No
So I
problem.
have the phone sitting over here, so it doesn't. It's crazy. Wow,
No
technology.
problem at
This
all.
reminds me of This reminds me of using a translator. When I went with John Maxwell to Paraguay and using a translator, you really talk about communicating and being able to connect with in a foreign country. Being able to connect, translators are everything. It doesn't matter what you say. If they can't take what you say to them, you're in trouble.
I want to ask you something from your military career. We've talked about this, but having training in isolation.
Yes. Yeah, my Air Force career, 23 years. What we're going through right now, I experienced at least once a quarter, sometimes monthly, at a week to 2 weeks at a time. So being at home and all of these things isn't really driving me crazy, and being at work and people are upset about wearing face masks. Try wearing chem gear and a chem mask and carrying 80 pounds, 50 to 80 pounds of extra weight that you normally don't carry to get back and forth to work.
Mm-hmm.
And where I was at, we had to walk to work. It wasn't like you had cars to get around in either. So it gives you a whole lot of perspective, but it also trains your mindset for it. It goes back to, this is an equipping season and a training season. In the military, we call it organize, train, and equip. That's exactly what this season is.
Mm-hmm.
It's to get organized, it's to train and get equipped, so that if and when this happens again, it's muscle memory versus shock and awe.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking on Sunday about the whole, I remember reading this one time, the lion on the prowl. The lion doesn't roar until he knows he's about to get his prey. That ferocious roar comes out and its prey stops and looks around. Like, where did that come from?
Right.
And that gives the lion precious seconds, precious moments of speed to catch that prey before they get started again. Because now they're scared. And a lot of us are like that right now. The shock and awe is starting to wear off, and it's, okay, now what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Who do I need to connect with? What's important? What's not important?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a great season to get organized and trained and equipped to be in the position where you want to be. What do you want this to look like afterwards? What do you want your life to look like afterwards? Your family, resources. What do you want that to be? Because this is the time to reset and do that. If you want to go back to normal, I don't believe there is going to be no going back to normal.
Nope.
If we go back to normal, how is the future going to be better? How's your future going to be better?
Well, and what can we do to make it better?
Yeah.
Right? Not just what is somebody going to give me to make my life better,
Yes.
but how do I invest in myself right now? So if you're a teacher, if you're I don't know what, I hope this is coming through. If you're a teacher, if you're a healthcare worker, if you're a restaurant owner, if you're a car, in car sales, right? If you are a manufacturer, if you're a president of a company that's trying to do international trade or products, right? Right now is a really difficult time for you, but I have had so many calls from so many people and so many people that want to have consulting. Hey, Greg's following us now. Hey, Greg, Greg Storch. But there are a lot of people that are saying, I am taking this time right now to increase my strengths. So, not just worry about the things I can't control, but increase the strength capacity. So, whatever your strength zone is, do it and multiply that so that you can gain that confidence. So, as soon as the world comes back on full force, that you're ready, that you're ready. So, whatever that looks like, some companies are going through their Salesforce list and trying to update those. Some companies are just reaching out to customers. Some customers,
There we go.
so there you go. Some companies are, trying to think, how can I manage in this gap before I get some of this stimulus package? Do I need to cut back on hours? Do I need to, help for early retirement? But all of those things as a business owner, you can think about getting ready for the full phase, right? Maybe you do things a lot differently when you go back, and maybe you've needed to, but this was just a sign to really help kind of motivate you, that get that momentum going. So there's so many things. I was saying Greg is here. Greg's following us, so I wanted to shout out to Greg Storch.
Hey, Greg. Speaking of lions, there's Mr. Roar right there.
That's right. Oh shoot! Now Greg is in Italy, Greg, I would love for you to come on here because you're
Yeah.
over. I don't know if you have time, but we've got, I can post this in the link and I will post it online. If you have the capacity to jump on here, we would love to hear what's going on in Italy. Um, and so there you go. Get on that link. I can bring you in the green room. We would love to have you on here with us and just talk about what's happening in Italy. So Greg Storch, if you are still on, oh, I see that. Yes. So copy that or type it in real fast. I know you're excellent. You're an excellent leader. And Greg's wife is leading the USO over in Vincenza. I think I said that right, Italy. And so they've had the first swoop of all of this, right? They were being affected
Mm,
first from Rome and being very worried about our team members that are, living all around the world and trying to do good and influence. And Greg just received the volunteer of the year award for the USO over in Italy, and so we are so proud of him. He's an amazing guy and has incredible
yes, he
energy. And
is.
I hope you can get in here. Can you get on, Greg? If you can, I know he's just I'm on my regular page and he's watching. So, but anyway, if he can't get on, that's okay. There's a lot of stuff happening, and this is kind of spontaneous, like we all are, right, Diane? Oh, I had to do that. Period.
I was going to say exclamation mark.
Oh my goodness. We're having way too
Oh,
much fun. But
yes,
anyway,
we are.
so it's really fun. Here's the thing. We have oh, there's Greg. Yay! Okay, guys, get ready. Get ready for high energy. Here we go. We're gonna bring 3 of us on here. But
Yes,
anyway,
we are.
so it's really fun. Here's the thing. We have oh, there's Greg. Yay! Okay,
Hi guys.
Get ready for high. So we're gonna bring 3 of us on here.
Oh God.
Anyway, so it's really fun. Here's the thing. We have oh, there's Greg. Yay! Okay,
Hi guys.
Get ready for high. So we're gonna bring 3 of us on here.
Oh God.
It's
Okay, there we go. I had the window with Facebook streaming, so I'm hearing the delay over in the other window, and I'm like, "What's going on?"
I know. We were just waiting for you. We love you, Greg. How is everything in Italy?
It's getting better by the day, actually. Yeah, it's going great. The numbers keep declining. They're watching them every day, and I think we're on the downslide now. So there's light at the end of the tunnel for us. So we're still really tightly locked down here. We can only travel for necessities. If you go outside, you have to stay 200 meters within the confines of your residence, outside. So that's about 1/10 of a mile perimeter around where you live. So it's not very far. But
I gotta ask you, how do you get up your steam for your running going that far?
so one of the nice things is we're by the military base here, and if you are on the base running other errands, i.e. grocery shopping, you are also allowed to stop by the track and run and exercise on the base as long as it's in conjunction with, what you're already there for. They don't want people specifically going to the base just to work out, but if you're already there, then you can. So today, it was a beautiful day. It was almost 70 degrees outside. The sun was shining. And so I took a little 4-mile run around the base and got some running in, but it's been a challenge. And, my half marathon's been postponed. So that's probably a good thing because I haven't been able to hit the street.
Mm-hmm.
LaRue on the street.
You hit him today.
Yeah.
Surprise. I think Dennis is having this is his first time on StreamYard.
I love it. Mine
Yeah.
too, actually.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you guys, this is so great. I love this.
It's
And
awesome.
we're doing international StreamYard today. So
Look at that. Amazing.
this is so great. It's so great to see you. We've been so concerned and all
Yeah,
these
thank
things
you.
that we're praying for all the people that we know that have been infected with this
Mm,
virus and so many stories that are coming out. These healthcare workers in here in the US, Greg, they're opening up lots of convention centers now. And
wow.
so I was just talking about yesterday. I spoke with one of the girls at our marina up north Indiana, and she works in Chicago. And they just opened up the um, McCormick Center for patients. So, I mean, it's just really serious, and you guys have experienced it. So,
Mm,
it's really scary.
yeah.
Any confident of words to leave for the U.S. as have you gone through this before us?
Well, the thing is, we're dealing with two very different cultures, right? The Europeans have a history of having to come together as a country and follow the guidance of their government. It was, a matter of life and death for them. World War One, World War Two, that all took place right here where we're living. So I think their mindset's a little different than our country, where we're used to having freedoms and not being told what to do. Right. So
Mhm,
that's, I think, the most dangerous thing for Americans is having that mindset
mm,
that we can do whatever we want to do, and that's absolutely true. We can, and that's where self leadership comes in. Right? Is
mm.
just because you can doesn't mean you should. So
Wait,
the
what? Say that again?
just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Okay. That's
Um,
a hard lesson.
it it's a very hard lesson, and one I had to learn, because up until a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to actually still be able to run outside, and I had to make a conscious decision whether I was going to, set that example, because I didn't have to be out there, and so I made the decision to stop going out there because I didn't need to be out there. And if nobody else was out there, I shouldn't have been either. So I stopped
Mm.
on my own. And it just so happens the very next day, they locked it down. They just stopped all outdoor activity. So, um, it's great that I was able to get there on my own and not wait for somebody to tell me to do it. And that's what self leadership is all about.
Mhm.
So the advice is just, I mean, there's so many people that are already doing it, but follow the guidelines. Stay in your homes. Only go out for the necessities. Emergencies, medical care, groceries, the pharmacies. Those things you absolutely have to do. But stop making runs to the store for ice cream, and get that on your weekly grocery runs. Get in and get back out. Wear your masks. I mean, masks just last week. We're 60 days in. We're starting our third month already, and just last week, Vicenza's mayor made gloves and masks mandatory everywhere you go. So you may see that coming, and I love what Dennis's wife is doing with the masks. That's wonderful. So yeah, so follow the guidelines. I know it's tough. We're not used to being told to stay put and not roam about our country freely, but desperate times call for desperate measures.
Mhm. What a great quote. Exactly. Because, here it is. We were just talking about March 12th being kind of our D Day, right? That was the last day that we knew normalcy. And
Yeah,
then March 13th, here we go. And we have to say, you can't do this anymore. You're advised,
yeah,
right? But many people said, oh, I'm going to go on spring break. I've got tickets.
yeah,
I'm going to go do all these things. And still, the influence in the communities, the mayors and people could not stop them. They didn't have the ordinance, right? So now all the beaches are closed. And just recently, the schools have been closed over here for the end of the year. And
right.
I think as the I don't want to say the deadline, but as the attitudes or in the direction from our leadership tells us, it's now extended. It's not just the end of March. Now it's the end of April. And what I heard yesterday is from some healthcare workers, and not to make a panic or anything, but the reality, when you say 60 days, right, you're experiencing this at 60 days. For
Mhm.
us, we've had it for 3 weeks, 3
Yeah.
weeks. So we've got about, 5 more weeks to go, and you're still doing fine, but it is taking those precautions now so that it doesn't become more than it has to be, and
Yeah,
learning those, right? Practicing that because there's another surge of this virus that's supposed to be coming through in October, September,
mhm,
October. And so our life is going to be different in 2020. That's what we need to tell people,
for
right?
sure. Yeah. There's so many things have changed. I just mentioned the half marathon's been postponed indefinitely. No organized sporting events at least till May 31st. So, and we had a trip to Scotland in August for their military tattoo festival. It's a large parade that they hold, and this year was the 75th anniversary. So we were going to attend, and it's in the middle of August, and we just were informed like 2 days ago that they've canceled the festival.
Mhm.
So all of that's being put on hold. It's impacting everybody all around the world, and the people that are out of work, not able to work from home, their jobs are gone. It's just a crazy time to, I keep thinking about what I would do if I was in that situation. And luckily I'm not, but there's so many that are.
Mhm.
And I mean, that just adds to the stress of this whole thing is like, not only do I have to stay at home and I can't find another job, but I'm out of work and I'm not bringing in any money. So it's
Right.
terrible.
It is terrible because we didn't prepare for this, but it happened overnight basically.
Mhm. Yeah.
And people, like us, I don't cook until March 13th. And now I am telling you, I haven't gone through one drive-through. I haven't ordered one takeout restaurant. I'm sorry, I'm not supporting the restaurants. It's not that I don't want to. I just feel like, as what I need to do because I feel like my immune system can be compromised a little bit having asthma.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
so for me, I think, well, go to the grocery and learn a new skill. So it's been fun,
That's
most of
awesome.
it, right?
Hey, we're going to be doing some live spots on the USO cooking demonstrations. You should follow them and check them out.
I will here's my strategy though. So before the cooking demonstration, I've always said for a grocery store, right? I don't want the click, funnels or the like the click funnels, but the click order, right? So you
Yeah.
go and you click it and they pack it for you and you go pick it up.
Mhm.
I actually want a map of the store so that if I said I really wanted to go find a product, that's why I hate going to the grocery store. Because for me, it's the time that it takes to find everything, right? They made these super Targets and these super Walmarts, and I'm like, that's not attractive to me because now I have no idea. They've always put things 2 places in the store, but where do I go first? And so I would love to be able here's an idea for somebody that's in the grocery business, right? Give me an app on my phone that I can follow for you. You can put your ads on there, I don't care. But tell me where this is in your store. I wanna find it. I wanna go right to it, and you
Mm.
can take me past everything else. You can put bunches of ads down the line. I don't care, but help me find it.
That's awesome. That's
Right?
awesome. Yeah. Speaking
So
of the stores, that's one of the things we've had to adjust to is shopping on the economy in Italy because we've been spoiled. We have a commissary on the military base, so we can get all the luxuries of home right there on the base. But the thing is, the base is full of Americans, and what happened when this whole thing started? They did the same thing they did in America. They ran to the base and they bought everything out.
mhm,
They hoarded all the supplies, so it forced us to go out on the economy and shop in the Italian stores, and it's it's pretty amazing when once we started getting used to it, that one, their stuff's fresh, like right out of the farm and into the grocery stores, and
mhm,
two, um, it's cheaper. Because if you think about it, they have to ship all these American brands over here, and there's a cost associated with that. So things aren't cheap here. But when you are shopping out on the economy, our grocery bill has actually gone down. And so it's been awesome.
I'm gonna put a comment here. Somebody says, and it's my friend Phyllis. She says, Walmart has an app to do that. So I want to know more. I want to PM me. I want to understand if Walmart really has that. But we can't go into Walmarts anymore now either because they've said only 4 people are allowed in the store at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I was riding my bike home from the base today, and I rode by one of their major grocery stores, and the line was, out the door and down the sidewalk. And, this is, the things to come that you'll see. And you were talking about these restaurants. Restaurants are a big business here, and they're all shut down. But it was amazing to watch a culture that's not normally enveloped in the home delivery business. They quickly adjusted, and some of these restaurants that are shut down ended up, there's an app where you can order food, and it'll tell you, who in your area is delivering. And so a lot of the restaurants, these aren't people that normally deliver, but now they are. And so just, yeah, desperate times, right? Calls for desperate measures. You have to be flexible and improvise. In the Navy, they used to always tell us, improvise and overcome.
mhm,
So that's
mhm,
now the best time to do that for sure.
mhm. Wow. Well, my goodness. So what didn't you expect, Greg? Being over there in this crisis when you heard the first time, like this is coming, or did you think it was as serious as it was at first? I know you guys have a little bit more information because of where you are on the base, but
Yeah.
has surprised you really about all of this?
Wow. From a lesson perspective, I've been able to learn quite a few things, but what surprised me the most are unfortunately seeing the worst behaviors was what was surprising. The mentalities, and it just made me pause for a minute and just ask myself, how did we get there? How did we get to a place where our first instinct is to go run out and buy everything for ourselves? And it kind of made me sad, to be honest with you, because you can walk in a store here and there's shelves and shelves and shelves of toilet paper.
Well, you
The
have
Italians
bidets.
weren't running to their stores and hoarding the toilet paper. Of course, in Europe they have bidets, so that helps. But it's just this different mentality. So that was surprising. The other thing that was surprising was how fast things were moving. The virus came to Italy on February 1st through Rome. And within a week or two, it had moved its way over to the region that's just right to the west of us. And so we were right next to basically ground zero, where, this is where the town completely shut down. Nobody could even leave. And that was not too far from here. So it was pretty interesting to see all that happen. And Vicenza stayed relatively out of the picture for quite some time. And then, nobody's safe. It's going to spread. I mean, you saw Italy within weeks became a complete red country, a red zone, the entire country within a matter of just weeks. And I imagine, the United States will, be the same way. So unfortunately, but, this whole fear thing, I mean, it can make people do some pretty interesting things when you're scared and fearful of the unknown. Um, we all have choices on how we react or choose to act in situations. And so it's been surprising to just kind of see the reactions to all of this.
Mhm. And so how many people are on your base?
About 5,000, American military in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So it's a big population. It's where the Army Airborne train. So yeah, it's a big population here.
mm-hmm. And you think about the people that are, I don't want to say stranded, but they can't see, they may not have their families over there with them.
Yeah.
And so when you're separated like that, I know you were getting ready for a big event this fall,
Yeah.
doing some stuff and just adding value. And so how has the military changed their attitudes about what they can do right now?
Yeah. That's a great question. Our military is always leading in the front, right? They're always setting the standard, and they knew right away. First of all, if you understand that we're an American military group in a foreign country, we're tenants of this country. We don't own this base. We're renting space on it. It's not ours. It's an Italian base, and we have a large footprint here. So the first move was to align ourselves with what our community, our Italian community, was doing and make sure that we weren't the ones propagating the virus. And so we took precautions right away. We are following the directions, the masks, staying at home as much as we possibly could to make sure that the American presence weren't the ones causing things to get out of hand in at least in this area. So that's how they reacted, was make sure we're complying, make sure we get the word out. They're huge on communication. They have a standing meeting every day that lasts about an hour and a half, and they go around the room and they give status updates on all the numbers, the hospitals, and who's been not who, but the numbers of admissions and all of that. Every day they communicate that. So they did a really good job with keeping everybody informed is with what they knew at the time and aligning themselves with what the Italians were doing. That was really a big smart move for them.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question here. I'm gonna post this, but it's Phyllis
Hi, Phyllis.
from Greenwood, Indiana. So how much longer do they anticipate all of this going on over there? Have they given you guys any kind of like another
Yeah,
90 days or what's
no.
the feedback?
They're gonna reevaluate things mid-month locally. The mayor here in Vicenza will be sometime around the middle of this month. We'll be evaluating the data, see where our numbers are, and see if they're probably following what China did to start easing some of the restrictions. But that's just a target. There's no guarantee that that's going to happen. All we know right now is another probably a good 2 weeks before we even look at doing anything as far as the restrictions go.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine even then, it's not going to be much. I mean, it's going to be a very small tweak. Maybe some outdoor exercise. I'm not sure, but maybe expand the perimeter that you're allowed to go out of around your residence, but not much.
Mm-hmm. And we have to remember, for those of the people that are watching here in the U.S., if you are in the U.S., we have just had this going on for 3 weeks, and you are 8 weeks, so you're 5 weeks ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of, be patient and prepare and just do those things, build those strategies that you need to do today, because this is not just going to go away. It's nothing that like, oh, well, somebody has influence and it's political. It's not. This is medical. This is a biological problem, and we've got to take care of it. It's
Mm-hmm.
very serious. There are, I think everybody probably knows somebody that knows somebody that has gotten COVID-19.
Yeah.
And I just had a niece, or I guess she's a niece, a cousin. I don't know. She's one of those extended families, but she's young. She just got into nursing school, and so it's my second cousin's granddaughter. So I don't know what that is on the tree.
That's some cousin
Some cousin, but
twice removed.
yeah. Somebody tell me how to do that. But, but she put on there she had been exposed at work, and so now she is quarantined, and she lives at home with her parents, and so they're all quarantined
Mhm.
for 14 days, and that's kind of what the normal process has been here. And so, has anything changed over there? Are you guys doing the same thing still, 14 days if you're exposed, or what's the flavor of that attitude?
Yeah, same thing. Same thing. They're under quarantine. They testing for COVID itself is the not the default. It's um, they go through the other tests first and rule those out. And then if they suspect, then you'll get tested for COVID. But they rule out flu, they rule out all the other stuff first and use those tests. But the base just built brand new barracks and they've turned them into quarantine quarters for the soldiers. And so they've got this facility now for even, you know, if you can imagine, they've got these military people going on assignments and having to come back. They're down in Africa, they're in Germany, and they're in the States, and they're all coming back to their home base in Italy, and they have to do something with them. So they have this facility, but they're doing the same thing with the quarantine. Yeah.
Wow, you just kind of close your eyes and you say, if I was over there, is it the same? And so it is, but we can learn so much from you, Greg, because Americans just think, oh, we're resilient and we're going to get these stimulus packages, and if people are unemployed, they're going to be able to at least feel the 4 months of I think the last thing was the signing of the 4 months of unemployment at 100%, right? To make people
Yeah.
feel like there is support. Now, it's a
Mm.
process and you have to apply. It's just not going to show up in your mailbox, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so that's the other thing. And so, but I think, the process of support is going to be there, and people just need to be patient with it, because it's not going to just close our eyes and wake up the next morning and, oh, we were in this dream and we thought we couldn't go outside.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
want to tell you. Let me, if we have time, I'll share this story with you. This just happened yesterday, so this is fresh. This is my reality. I had to take one of the military spouses to the airport in Milan. It's about 2.5, 3 hours from where we live. Well, first of all, to do that, you have to have forms. I have to have a form that I fill out that says I'm going from my residence to the airport. Then I have to have another one saying I'm leaving the airport and coming back to my residence in case I get stopped. If you're stopped and you don't have that form, on the spot, fine 400 euros, which is about close to $500 American. So,
wow.
they're fining people all the time. They're not messing around. So I took this young lady to the airport. It's Malpensa. It's one of the largest airports in Milan, in this area, actually. And first of all, Terminal 1 was completely closed. We pulled up and I'm like, where is everybody? Well, we didn't know that they had shut that terminal down. All their flights had moved over to Terminal 2. And so we had to get back in the car and drive down the road another like quarter mile to the other terminal. And we pulled up there. And even then, we walked into the terminal and there were probably maybe 20 people in the terminal total, and half of them were workers.
Mhm.
It was a ghost town. And what I wanted to share about this is she's checking in. She's leaving Italy permanently. She had to fly back to the States. She's done here, and so she's permanently leaving. She's got 3 bags to check and her 1 carry-on. They're giving her a hard time about the 3 bags. Listen, they charged her 90 euro for her second bag and 250 euros for her third bag. 300 and some odd dollars to send another 2 bags. It was crazy. Then she was flying to Frankfurt, Germany for her layover. And it was a little over 24-hour period layover. They weren't going to let her get on the plane because of that layover. So somehow they allowed her to get on it, but she had a hotel reserved in Frankfurt. Frankfurt did not allow her to leave the airport. Their borders are closed.
Mm-hmm.
And so she couldn't leave the airport to go to the hotel. So she stayed in that airport for like 25 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, she got there at like 11:30 yesterday morning, and her flight took off at like noon today from Frankfurt.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, the shops in the airport are shut down. You can't walk around and shop and buy food. I mean, she was able to get some food, but very minimal.
Mm-hmm.
So it was eerie,
Mm-hmm.
really, to
And I've
see
been
that.
in that airport. I get it. Most of us that have traveled around the world, you know how odd it is anyway, right? When you're going into a foreign airport and you're trying to figure out, like, are there signs in English? And is there a Starbucks? And can I get into the bathroom? But when you think of it being a ghost town, I mean, we were driving
Mhm.
around the other day just because we had to get out. So we drove downtown here in Indianapolis, and there is no one. And it feels like a creepy movie. You
Yeah.
feel like there are producers that are filming something, they've closed the streets down, which is a good thing, right?
Mm.
It's a good thing because people are listening. But when the seasons are changing, and here it is spring, and it's getting to be nice outside, there's a lot of temptation to just go out and be in your yard and go visit your neighbors. And it's like that 6 degree of separation, that 6 foot of separation is here. And you guys said somebody asked me, and I think they weren't on here earlier, but how far can you go when you go outside?
Yeah.
What are the parameters for you?
Yeah.
What are the restrictions?
We have to I'll put it in American terms, 1/10 of a mile perimeter around the residence, which is not far. So it's 200 meters in the metric system. So it's, you know, it's not a very, like, I was running 11 miles, you know, for my long runs. If I were to do that within that perimeter, I would have to do close to 100 laps
Wow. Now,
to make 10 miles.
would you get fined if they're around and you are outside of
No,
that zone? No, you won't get fined.
as long as I'm within that zone. If I'm outside of that and I have no good reason, I mean, exercising is not a reason to be outside right now. And so if I was outside that 200 meters, that 1/10 of a mile zone, I would absolutely get fined
Wow.
€400. So
My goodness.
yeah,
My goodness. Well, that's such an important message for us. I'm so glad that you were on here today. So you guys that just joined, this was not planned. Diane, if you're still watching, this was not structured.
ah, Diane.
I really wanted to get on with Dennis because he couldn't get on the other day and just share some strategies, right? But
Yeah,
so many people. So we have 35,000 members in the John Maxwell team now, which is
I know.
insane.
Wow,
Thinking about 3 years ago, there were 15,000.
I know.
And so I just love, though, my company is all about connecting, and people that come into my life, I stay connected to forever because you're on my journey. And
Mhm.
when Greg just a couple of years ago said, "Guess what? We're selling everything and we're moving to Italy." We were all like, "Are you serious?"
Surprise!
Surprise. So I'm encouraging him to write a book about this of
What if
what
you did?
what if you did? What if you did? Because what you have experienced, and now through this,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, through this, experiencing this on an international, the first ones to experience it, the wave, right? What you're
Mhm.
teaching us. So I want to invite you. Maybe we can do this every week, Greg, just to let the listeners know what's
Love it.
actually occurring, so that we can kind of prepare, what
Yeah.
happened, what's the influence, what are the changes. That would be
Mm.
a really a great opportunity for people to join in and be a little bit more confident.
Yeah. I would love to do that. That's a great idea, actually. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do it.
All right.
All right, it's a date.
My I'll have my people talk to your people.
Social distancing, please. As
It'll
long
all
as
be virtual.
as long as they're not in the same room. No, I think that is a great idea.
Yeah,
And
it is.
anybody else that would want to join, I can have 3 or 4 people on here at the same time. And Dennis was on here, but his signal kept going out, so he
He needs to
disappeared.
get that fixed before next weekend when we record our consistency program.
I know. Well, this was his first time on StreamYard, so he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna try this." And but we were just having some audio trouble and connection. I think his Wi-Fi signal. So, but this is really really great. I'm gonna see if there's any other questions on here.
Yeah.
I know it's
Cool.
you're at night over there. Do you guys have any questions? It's I see Elizabeth Frederick on here. Ellie Gates. Hey, Ellie.
Hey, Ellie.
She says, please do. So yes, let's do this every week. And all right, so we've got Phyllis, we've got Elizabeth, Jose Escobar. Hello,
Hey, Jose.
Jose. And Diane was on here. Let's see if she's still on here. Elizabeth Frederick. Yeah, so it's been fun. I'm not sure. Bruce Pearl. Oh, there's Greg Storch. You were on here too. Amazing, right? So for people that are I'm going to chop this up from the video because I'll be able to do that, and we'll get this out because I think if we could set up a time. Oh, there's Dennis again. Let me see if I can pop him back in here. If we can
Come back in here, Dennis.
Oh, there we go. There he is.
Hey there. Please tell me, can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Yes. Hallelujah.
And your video is actually really crystal clear too. Oh, now it just froze.
I'm on my phone now, and I'm downstairs closer, so we'll see if that works.
Oh my gosh.
Greg, it's so good listening to you talk about military, being retired Air Force, and everything you were sharing. Adapt, adjust, and overcome was definitely what I heard during my career. So now Semper Gumby's another one, always flexible.
Yeah, no, Dennis, I was listening to what you were saying about the isolation, and there was a meme on Facebook the other day about it had a picture of a ship, and it's like, some of you have never been stuck in the same quarters with the same people eating the same food for months at a time. And it shows. And it's like, that's what you do in the Navy. When that ship deploys and you're gone for 6 months, you don't walk off the bridge into the middle of the ocean. You can't go anywhere. It's the same people in the same space, same food, for months, half a year. So it's fun. It's kind of funny. It's like, man, they trained me well for this.
Absolutely.
But most Americans, we're in this abundance mindset. When we have everything, it's at our fingertips. I think the biggest thing in America was when they closed down Disney World, right? When people were planning on spring breaks and they said Disney is closing, that really, to a lot of people that were living in this false sense of, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Like, what do you mean I can't go to Disney World?
You cannot go to Disney World.
That's their escape, and so you can't even do that. And that's the real kind of like, aha, right? You have to figure something else out. Buy it, go get a puzzle, or go play hopscotch, or get the chalk out.
Hey, I've done a couple of things from a community building perspective over here, and one you guys already know about is the Friday morning coffee connection. I just open up Zoom, and whoever wants to come on and chat, Elizabeth Frederick comes on every Friday with us. Eric reads with us, and it's growing in numbers. But another thing is there's a local Americans here, and our friends, where on Fridays we have a virtual happy hour, because normally we would go down to the piazza and have a glass of wine or a spritz, as the sun's going down, and you can't do that. So we do that on Zoom on Fridays. So that's kind of fun as well. So it's you just got to make the best of it.
It does. Do you have that Zoom link by chance? Do you want to put it in the comments? Can you put it in the chat?
Just give me. I do have it. Just give me a second. I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that would be great. We'll put it on there. Because Coffee Connection, if people want to join you, that would be really great to just check in with you. It's so important, and I love that we have this personal connection with Greg. We have this group that we've been coaching every week for the last couple of years.
Mhm.
And Greg was a big part of this group for a long time. And we really just believe in adding value to people. And so here we are in all these different parts of the world and trying to figure out how to get through chaos and overcome
Mhm.
these obstacles. And
Yes.
y-
Okay.
for people that are just starting this journey of like, what is this going to look like? It's really scary, and there's a lot of fear for people.
Yeah, it
Mm.
is. It is scary. I watching it unfold back in the States, it's just worrisome to see it all unfold. But I think one of the benefits that I was able to experience is not seeing a lot of news here, which was kind of nice actually.
Mhm.
It kept me from buying into the fear behind the whole thing and being able to make my own decisions on how I wanted to react to it, and not be told that we should, the sky's falling. Okay, I got the link here. Let me
Right.
put that.
Oh, good.
Mhm. Greg, that's so good what you said there about the news. I don't watch a lot of news anymore. A lot of times my mom is sending me messages all the time about news. It's really quite hysterical. Um, but our mindset here, the worry, the anxiety, the fear, those it doesn't take much right now in this season for that to seep in, creep in, and grow some serious roots. So for those of you that are watching as Greg's putting this up, get on his coffee call, spend time with Mel, get into groups where you're being fed those positive thoughts, being fed, it's one thing, the facts are the facts about this virus. But that does, if you can't do anything about it, but do what you can do, then don't let that worry creep in. One of the exercises I gave folks this past week that come to my Sunday group is read in the Bible, Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 through 34. Those verses, Jesus specifically starts off with, do not worry about anything. Do not worry. And then he goes through a whole list of things that we normally worry about, things that
Mhm.
we're going through right now. And just spend time. We were talking about meditation earlier, Mel.
Yeah.
Spend time reading that and just reading that sentence by sentence and letting that sink in and seep in. Because when you pull out those roots of fear and doubt and anxiety and stress, that
Mhm.
leaves a gap, and you got to fill it with something. If you don't fill it with something good, you're just going to get more weeds and junk and crap back in. And this time they're going to grow deeper and longer and harder.
Mhm.
Yeah, it goes back to the whole information is power. Everybody wants to have the information. They want to be in the know, and they're not waiting to get it. Instead of, what I liked is here, the information isn't being pushed. I can go pull it on my own. I can go to the CDC website. I can go to the World Health Organization websites, and I can pull the data, which is where you should be getting that information from to begin with, not
Mhm.
Facebook.
Mhm.
And right.
Come on.
And
I don't care
sorry,
about Facebook. They put me in jail.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Don't get me started.
inmates.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Guilt by association. The three
I know.
amigos.
I know. There goes our sites, Dennis.
I know. Sorry.
So
No, go
yeah,
ahead.
it's just not having that, being able to just get the information on my own and not have it force fed to me, and then I can make my own determination on what I want to do with that information is a lot more powerful. But, the mindset is I got to have the information. I got to be in the know, because if I don't have the information, I'm at a disadvantage from everybody else. So, if you're the guy or the girl that has the knowledge, everybody wants to go to you and find out what's going on, and they want to be that person. And so
Hey.
everybody's out scrambling around.
Jose has a question. Jose says, Facebook is not a reliable resource. No, wait a minute. I'm going to take this off here because I'll probably get banned again.
You will.
Oh,
No,
that's a-
I know, right?
Right.
But you guys have seen it. How many times have you seen people go there as a source?
Mhm.
No, Facebook said.
It's a paid, they pay advertisers. So, hey, Hey, I want to
Sure.
ask you real quick. With Dennis's wife doing all of her mask and on Etsy, right? So for people that are just joining, I'm going to share this real quick. I don't know what this is going to do to us because we're all like on here together. Let me share this screen real quick. But Jamie is making these masks, and so if you go to Etsy, Jamie's Little Jewels
So cool.
is
There you go.
is her shop. And so you can order. She's taking a little bit of sabbatical. It says she's on a break, but she's trying to get her inventory stocked up. So if you can order from her, she will make these amazing surgical masks for you. And if you want to donate and you want to sponsor a hospital or somebody that you know in the area that needs these, many of my friends that are in healthcare now are saying that they're getting one mask and they have to take it home and wash it and then come back to their facility the next day with it. So it's really important, and I
Yes.
think people don't realize that. And hold on a second, where am I going? Where are my people? There they are. Shuffling you guys around like a roulette card. But what's really important is we don't understand it because we're not working in it every day. And so I wanted to ask you, Greg, what is happening with supplies, medical supplies in Italy now that you're 5 weeks ahead of us? What are you guys seeing? What are you hearing?
Yeah, well, like I told you earlier, they just locally, the mayor made gloves and masks mandatory. But when you go to a grocery store, I was just at the grocery store yesterday. On my way back from the airport, I made a stop at the grocery store before I made my way home. And the grocery store was actually handing out masks, paper masks, basically disposable masks that you could use. So anything that covers your mouth, they're accepting as a mask. It doesn't have to be a formal mask. It could be, I use the buffs that I use to run with. I'll pull it down and then I'll pull it back up and have it here. And people use scarves, anything to contain the cough, really is the idea, to contain the spread. So the supplies, I think the pharmacies here, the local pharmacias have, masks and gloves for people to buy. Now from the medical facilities, it's the same thing. See, nobody was prepared. Like, we're in the mindset of just, people coming into the ER, they cut themselves or whatever happened, a car accident, whatever. The normal, we had 10 patients come in last night, not 500 patients come in last night, right? We weren't ready for any of that. Nobody was. We don't operate on a crisis basis every day. That wasn't our norm. So we had, adjusting to that, you weren't prepared. But I think you're going to see training scenarios change for the hospitals now, right, Dennis?
Absolutely.
Well, and I think that's been the influence, right, of getting people to stay home. That's the biggest message is, you could get this virus, you could get this sickness, but I know a lot of people in healthcare that have been exposed, and so they now have to be quarantined for 14 days.
Right.
Well, that takes them out of the workforce.
Mhm.
Right? So they're not there to help you when you get sick.
Correct.
And that's the biggest thing of people saying, "Oh, it's not going to get me," but you can be a carrier and not have symptoms. And now that how slippery this virus is, that's the value of understanding what you can do, what is your part, which is to stay home. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's right. And the healthcare system also, they were struggling beforehand when it came to nurses and all of that. So they were
Correct.
shorthanded coming into this, and now they're coming into this is something that is just talk about doing more with less, that they've got to do more with less than less.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so, staying indoors is right on. Greg, I love your perspective because you're out there in it. So that's a sobering reminder for us here. It's one thing to have a positive mindset, but we also have common sense,
Right.
and we need to use wisdom to if I love what you said, going out to get ice cream. We're going out to get ice cream. Now I'm low on coffee. I'm going to order some coffee. That's an emergency supply for me. But such a great perspective. I really appreciate that. I hope everybody that's listening to this, y'all took notes and not just physical notes, but mental notes and making changes to your daily habits as a result.
Mhm.
Yeah, when you had dropped off, Dennis, I was talking to Mel. I mean, one of the things that was most evident to me is the need for self-leadership right now. You got to lead yourself through this. I can't even worry about the people around me. I got to make sure I'm doing the right thing first. Remember, it always starts with us first.
Yeah.
You got to stay inside. You got to wash your hands. You got to wear the mask and the gloves. Yes, it looks silly. Get over it. Do the right things. And so the self-leadership piece really hit me quick. I was like, man, you got to set an example and, do what's right. And that's what this boils down to. Leaders aren't selfish. They're selfless.
Boom.
This is the time when that's most needed is don't be selfish.
Mhm.
It's that easy.
I'm going to put, I put right here, I think I'm going to share this here with you guys, but for anybody that is following here and you guys just want to keep up with Greg, there's a couple of things, this Coffee Connection on Fridays. We're also going to try to do some interviews for everyday leaders, which I think will be great.
I love it.
Also, the Lion's Den is Greg's Follow the Leaders series every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. So would love for you guys to start following Greg. I'm sure he's going to do some valuable lessons from what he's learning through this, from the perspective of being an American in kind of a chaotic war zone, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And it is so important that we understand perspective. And so having somebody that's going before us to give us confidence in this situation, I think is super critical.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks for putting that up there. I'd love to have you. Right now we're I just kicked off 3 weeks ago my new leadership series on how to raise leaders. So we're talking about all the things leaders can do to bring those up with us, because my previous series was all about preparing ourselves for that. And that was 10 weeks long. And then the natural progression is, now that we've got ourselves straight, now we can shift our focus to bringing these other leaders up and how to raise leaders, because that's one of our main jobs, right? Is to grow more leaders. So that's what we're talking about now. And I'm on week. This Wednesday will be the 4th week in this new series, and so we have about 2 more months to go.
Oh, that's so great. And for Greg, the Lion's Den, if you follow that, there's a whole series of videos that go back in the history blogs from when he started this, which was, how long ago has this been?
So my 100th episode will be on April 15th. You guys will be there with me to celebrate. And that's the reason I picked the topic of consistency, because 100 episodes every week for 100 weeks. And so reaching the 100 is, obviously just a stepping stone, a milestone to reach. But I wanted to pause. I wanted to get there, and then I wanted to stop and pause and reflect on why it was important to be consistent. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, man, I know people like Dennis and Melanie and Eric, all these people who consistency has played a significant role in. No matter what you're doing, we're all doing something just a little bit different, but the one common factor is we're all consistent at what we're doing. And so as I wanted to pull together these leaders and thought leaders and talk about consistency on the anniversary. So not this Wednesday, but Wednesday, the tax day. Well, the old tax day. will be a panel discussion with 6 awesome leaders. You two are going to be there with me. I've got Eric G. Reed. I've got Renee Michelle, who, I'm just a huge fan of Renee's. She's doing wonderful things down in Australia. So, and of course, Dave McGlennon, another. just phenomenal people. So, and then I've got a coach friend of mine, Paul Silva in Canada, joining us, and he's another phenomenal guy. He was a professional chef for like 25 years, recovered alcoholic, and he works with people to transition through that whole, alcoholism and getting away from alcohol. So he, talk about consistency. Right. Here's another guy that talk about the importance of that for him. So it's going to be pretty awesome. I can't wait to get together with all of you.
It's going to be awesome. And here we go, April 15th, one of the first days that we ever know in our lifetime that it's not tax day. That's not consistent, right?
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like we're watching Marvel, the Marvel universe, when Iron Man says, "Earth is closed today."
Well, it's one of those things that you say, how long is it going to last? So I love this that you hopped on here because, we're all thinking, oh, it's going to last through May and the kids are out of school and all the pain that people are saying, well, my kids don't get to experience being a senior this year. It's like, that's never going to go away. And I'm sure the celebrations will happen and they'll be unique and it'll be exciting for them in a different way. But for the safety is what people need to understand. It is really, really important that they just follow the rules right now.
Yeah, I think our natural tendency, obviously, is to always want to know when it's going to be over, especially under these kind of circumstances when it's not favorable. You just want to know, how long do I have to do this? Like, you have to get your mindset around, can I do this for the long haul? But at the same time, it's really important not to focus too far down the road because we don't know if we're going to actually be there anyway. So how about this? How about you just wake up tomorrow and focus on that day and then do that again the next day and the next day. And before you know it, the end will be there for you. You'll get through that thing. But worrying about something, one, you don't control, two, you don't know, and three, we don't know if we're going to be around for it. Tomorrow, I know it's trite. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. I could pass away in my sleep tonight and not have tomorrow. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to focus right now. And then if I'm lucky enough to wake up tomorrow, I'll refocus again. and I know it sounds like a Groundhog Day, but it doesn't have to be. But I wouldn't say don't cast your focus too far in the future and worry about when things are going to be over. Focus now in the near future about what you're going to do with the time you've got.
So good. And Greg, one thing I was asked I was interviewed yesterday, and one of the folks asked me, for those people that are struggling to get out of bed, who maybe are feeling depressed or just, they're not knowing when this is going to end.
Yeah.
They asked, what advice would you give them? I said, well, it starts the night before you get out of bed.
Yeah.
What are some things you're grateful for? And write those 3 things down or say those 3 things before you go to sleep so you can plant some good seed to look forward to when you wake up.
Correct.
That way, when you get out of bed, you can be grateful for a new day, grateful for this day, grateful for trying something new, grateful for being with family, grateful for start throwing those positive seeds and live that day. Live that day as if it's your last, but live it in a way that you want to say, I went out the way I wanted to go out.
Yeah.
How many people in sports want to go out as champ, but don't? Yeah. But that didn't mean they didn't try to become champ. So be the champ of your day.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And, all 3 of us sitting here, foster positive mindsets. We surround ourselves with positive people, but there's a lot of people out there that aren't in a situation. It's more difficult to be positive in their situation. Maybe they do have a family member who's sick or compromised, and if they get exposed to this, and so what I would say to them is, mindset is everything in life is about a choice, right? Where our focus goes, our energy flows. So while circumstances may not be great for that person, to Dennis's point, find the one shiny thing you can focus on. What, instead of saying, focusing on what's not good, ask yourself, what is good? What's good today?
Mhm.
Well, I, I woke up. That's a basic one. That's great. I get another day.
And for
So,
us here in the States, if you've got toilet paper, come on.
There's another one. If you have TP, that's a shiny something you can focus on.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so good. And cling to it. If that's all you've got to cling to, then cling to it with everything that you've got.
No pun
And-
intended.
That's good. That's so good. Oh my. In
this
other
is
words,
TP.
squeeze the Charmin. Squeeze the Charmin
Squeeze
and
it.
hold on to
Dug
it.
it.
Oh my.
Love your Charmin.
A whole nother campaign. Oh my gosh. You
Oh,
guys.
I just want to, just on the TP thing, I was at the grocery store yesterday, and my wife asked me to pick up some more, and I felt guilty buying 2 packs. I almost put one back, and I was like, well, if I put it back, then I'm going to be back here again next week when I don't need to be. So I'm going to buy the 2, but I felt guilty about it. It's
Yep.
really strange.
Yep. Well, it is, because for many weeks, I don't know if it's weeks, but it felt like that. It's probably just days that, our butchers and people were trying to put hamburger out. And they couldn't keep up with the pace of the need, right? The demand. And so we go back now and everything's in 2-pound packs because, for families, I mean, you're going to have to at least buy a couple of those. But now when we go back, it's at least you have 3 or 4 choices where you didn't last week, and so they're trying to kind of keep up with everything, but it has been just a struggle for every single person in every capacity,
Yeah.
because when those things change, are you essential? Do you have to show up? Like you said earlier, will you get fined if you're just trying to do your normal job? And so you have to know all the new rules, right? You have to know all the new rules and how you have to exist in this, so that we
Yeah.
can get through every single day.
Yeah. One day at a
Spot on.
day at a time.
And Greg, for that one person that you said that, their environment may not be as like we have here, I would encourage them. One, this is your opportunity to lead, to create that environment. And then 2, get around people like Greg or Melanie and folks on Facebook that are there are so much resources out there online and YouTube and Facebook where you can get that positive spark. So go find that positive spark to fill you, so that you can in turn pour it out on them and create that positive environment in your families and maybe coworkers that are around you. Do whatever it takes to
love that.
go viral, being a positive influence in people's lives.
Yeah. No, I
Yep.
love that, Dennis. Spot on.
Yep.
You can't give what you don't have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So get filled up, and we're full of it.
Get the Charmin.
I love it.
Oh, I love you guys.
It is. We just, I'm sorry, comic relief. But it is so important, and really, if it just is, to get a little bit of laughter and to help you get the stress off of your daily routine. Here it is Saturday, and so people are like, okay, well, what would I normally do on Saturday, right? I would be at my kids' sports. I would be out at a park. I would be doing something different than my daily work schedule. And so I think about the people, like you said, Dennis, even that have had to restructure their houses to have a working a desk at their house, right? They may not have the space. I think about all my friends in New York, right? They have families. They live in these apartments, but their kids are usually at school or there's a nanny. And so now you're all on top of each other. And like Greg, you can't go outside of your apartment.
Yeah.
So, right. And so it's so we just don't live in that every day. And so what if you don't have a good relationship in your household? Right? That's what I think of. We're people of faith. So we really believe in our families and our structures are safe environments. But,
Mhm.
I think about what kind of a message or what we can help people with that may be watching this or catch this and say, I don't know where to turn because I have to stay quarantined, but it's not really safe for me. Right? That's something that a lot
Mhm.
of us are thinking about because it's not our environment, but it
Yeah.
is, but it's reality. So,
Mhm.
right? So do you have any recommendations, for that kind of part of, right, the people that are trying to say, "Hey, I wanna do better. I hear you, but my reality maybe is just a little bit different."
Yeah. Um, the, the first thing that really comes to my mind is that we are not our circumstances. They don't make us who we are. And,
Mhm.
you and Dennis have been talking about perspective tonight, and this is all about perspective. And for those people that find themselves in a situation, there's it's hard to take a step back from that environment to get a clear head and just ask yourself, what options do I have available to me?
Mhm.
Because in those situations, the only option is I got to stay here. I can't go anywhere. Um, but then I would challenge you and say, how true is that? How true is that? Because again, it's perspective. Are you like, is the door like bolted locked and you don't have the keys? You can't leave, or you mentally can't leave because you don't entertain other options. And
Mhm.
so,
Mhm.
where there's a will, there's a way. And sometimes we just have to get out of our own way to come up with these options of, what if I can't do this, what can I do? If A is not an option, what about B and C and maybe even D? And don't ever tell yourself it's impossible. Like, oh God, I couldn't do that. Mel, this is the whole premise of the book, right? What if you did? Is that's our problem. The first thing we tell ourselves is, I could never. Well, what if you did?
Mhm.
how would
Mhm.
how would things look differently for you if you
Mm.
did?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can't wait to
Mhm.
read that book.
I can't wait to write it. I'm gonna have to hire Eric because I've got the
Uh-oh. You know Eric's listening too. You better be ready for a
yeah,
phone
yeah,
call.
yeah, yeah, I know. He's messaging me right now. He's like, I'm ready. Go to Brown Dog, Skinny Brown Dog Media.
No, but I think that's true, right? Because many people would say, even in your situation. And so that's why I ask you specifically,
Mhm.
because you think, well, I would love to be able to do this. Sam would love to be able to go and work for the USO internationally, but we have a house, we have cars, we have
Yeah,
things, right? We can't
I
just
had
pick up and
just
leave.
landed. Lion Enterprise was a baby. It was only like 1 year old. I had just landed my first contract, and it was a 1 year contract. And I was only 6 months into it, and I had to end it to move here.
Mm.
And I could have easily said, "Are you crazy, Sam? You can't go to Italy and work because I've got my stuff to do."
Mhm.
But this is the lady, remember, that has followed me around the Navy for the last 16 years of my career or whatever. So you can't, again, here's that selfish and selfless stuff, and it's payback time. So you have to just let go of some stuff.
Mhm.
And what if we do?
What if we do? Right?
Yeah.
What
It
do?
is perspective, and so I appreciate you answering that because I think, I have talked to a lot of people, a lot of my coaching clients that say, "I would love to be able to do something different, but I have no capacity right now. You don't understand the environment that I'm in. It's really stressful. I can't focus on myself." And so I wanna say to them, take that 1 hour a day and journal, or take that 20 minutes, Kelly Eckwurzel gave us a great challenge the other morning. Take 20 minutes and look at something and just go focus on that one thing.
Yeah.
And it was great because people came back on and said, here's my before picture, here's my after picture. And right. And it's just true because you make yourself quantify the time and then the activity that you're going to do. And so thinking that you can't is where you need to start.
Yeah. Dennis probably can attest to this as well. I have clients that have that same thought pattern, and my question to them is what would it look like if you did? What would it look like to you? And I have them describe it. Tell me what this looks like to you. I mean, in detail, paint this whole thing out. And then they describe it. And then I'm like, what's one thing you can do today to get you one step closer to that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good. It's
it is. And the question that I'll ask them when they say I can't is I'll say, is it can't because you are unable to do it and incapable of doing it, or is it a matter of the will and you won't? Which one is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Most of the time it's won't. It's not can't, it's won't.
Correct. Human beings are pretty phenomenal creatures. There's not a lot we really can't do. I mean, we've landed on the moon. We've put wings on and flown in the air. We've turned bicycles into motorized vehicles. And
we're having conversations with people in Italy through our phones.
I know. You would have thought. Yeah. So I mean, it's just a limiting perspective, a limiting belief, right? That when you have that kind of mindset, and that's why coaching is so powerful and great. When you're able to help people get through that, because most people aren't aware of their self-limiting beliefs. They've been programmed for so long that they really believe. And back to Dennis's point, it's not that they physically can't, it's they don't have the will to want to do it. Yeah.
And so we got to challenge those belief systems. We've got to, here's another thing a lot of people are missing, like me. I'm missing sports right now. You got to throw that, you got to pull out the red football challenge flag, and you got to challenge that BS, that belief system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, look at you. You're doing great. And no sports.
And no,
who would have
thought? But that is the thing, right? Everybody is being affected by this. So it's not just, because you were in this industry and that shut down, or the oil crisis or anything. It's every single one of us. So the pain and the empathy that we feel is across the world. Yeah. And I think that's what's really interesting about us living through this, the Great Depression. But here we go, and we have to do everything differently. So I love this. I just typed this up here. We are not aware of our own limiting beliefs. So we have to start there. We've got to change those beliefs to be able to get through this together.
Yeah, we need coaches to expose those blind spots. There's a reason they're called blind spots. You can't see them.
Yeah, exactly.
And once they are exposed, then you can see them for what they are and start putting those plans in place to overcome them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. If somebody is watching this right now and you're struggling to get to a place you're trying to go, coaching is probably for you. Mm-hmm. Coaching, consider a coach.
Yes. It's critical for your inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And a lot right now, you can get into mastermind groups. You can get into a lot of different networks. You can go on YouTube and watch coaches. So if you're not, maybe some people say, I don't have the finances, like, it would cost me ridiculous amounts of money for a coach. But there's a lot of ways that you can develop that or reach out to someone, especially any of us, right? I mean, we're doing all kinds of programs for free. Some cost, but there's a lot of value to kind of where you are right now. and what you believe about what you need. And so once you uncover this, you become clearer on how you can develop some strategies. That's where the gates open, and you feel that peace and that sense of control.
Mm.
Yeah. One of the things I offer are free exploratory sessions just to expose people to the power of coaching, because they don't know what it is and they don't know what it can do for them. And to spend 30 minutes with them and, ask a few questions that knock them off their seat, and,
Yeah.
they get it. And, it helps the coaching profession as
Mhm.
well. And that's part of our job, is to further the profession of coaching as professional coaches. So, offering free sessions, a free exploratory session, just to get get exposed to it and what it
Mhm.
can do for you, is nothing. It's easy. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's plenty
And
out there.
and it's an investment. How
Mhm.
much is your dream, your life worth? It's an investment. You are worth the investment. You are worth reaching your full potential because you were uniquely made to
Mhm.
perform a unique mission to impact people around you, and you're worth that investment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Listen, y'all are probably hitting up the Starbucks, spending $10 on a triple venti mocha choca latte at
Not
least
anymore.
3 times a week, every week, right? I mean, that adds up. It's simple math. I mean, how much are you spending on your coffee a month? Well, right now you're not, but in the
That's
real world,
that's one of the things, right? When you look at your budget, people are saying, well, they've lost this, or they're spending more money on groceries because their kids are at home. But what
Mhm.
we realized is just a couple without kids at home. Here we are and thinking all the money that we spent every day just eating out, conveniences of eating
Mhm.
out, or having that Starbucks coffee, or going out for coffee, right?
Mhm.
And so we average what that daily budget had been, even though we were budgeting. But you just think, like, let's really think about it,
Yeah.
and how much we've gone to the grocery and what we're spending, and really being intentional, right? So intentional about everything, and getting that Dave Ramsey chart back out and saying, okay, where do I need to spend this money now to make me stronger for when things come back? And so I think our coaching program that we all offer, those are things that, if I am struggling, like, I have a coach, right? Because we all need them. And when we
Mhm.
recognize that, we can get that clarity, we can get that momentum, we can get that just confidence back into our daily routine, to not worry and be grateful, right? Then before we go to bed, we're grateful, and we get up with so much renewed energy and intention. And so that all those things are going to get us through this, um, to be able to live a lot more healthy, wealthy, and wise, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And think about it. Now, I'm a coffee drinker. When Greg's over there stepping on my toes talking about coffee, I get coffee with a shot of espresso at Starbucks almost every day. That's how I am. I need my red eye.
Yeah.
But, I'm buying bags of beans. I've got them here, make them. It's just making those adjustments. Think of this. Those of you that drink soda, by not putting that money in soda, investing it into coaching, not only are you making your life better, you're actually living healthier too. It has coaching will influence every part of your life. You may want to focus on your business, but if you invest in coaching, it's going to impact your business, your life, your family, and everything around it. Coaching actually touches every part of your life.
Mm.
But you just got to start somewhere.
Yep.
Yep.
So where will you start? Where will you start, and when will you start?
Where will you start?
The resources are here.
Yep. We are so passionate. Here we are. We love pouring into people.
Mhm.
So really, if you're watching this and you need to get a hold of Greg or Dennis or myself, go to everydayleaders.com. I'm happy to coordinate any of that. Join Greg's coffee at 9 a.m. Eastern. for just the coffee connection from the Zoom link that we posted in here. Also, 11 a.m. on Wednesdays Eastern Time for the Lion's Den and the Weekly Roar. Be a part of that group. Yes,
I love it.
yes, and because it's great, and there's a whole library of information on there for you to start building your strategies. Right, they're all right there, resources. And then Dennis, as we've been talking, all the things that he's doing with leaders develop relationships, and now having this Bible study on Sunday mornings, like this is what people need because they can't connect to church. And your LaRue on the street for daily like reminders. I'm out here. Here's how we're going to live. His steel toes required quotes about, making yourself have armor around you, because you got to show up and you got to know who you are before you can, really respond to the things that are going to happen to you and deflect those things in your life. And so, I mean, we've got some powerful messages, and we have so much experience, and we have so much that we want to pour into people. And so this is what you see, right? We're just bouncing off of the walls. We could do this for days. We could do this for days because this is who we are, right? And we want to connect and help and develop people that are ready to grow, because this is a journey that is free for everybody. This journey of accepting and giving yourself freedom to say, come on, right? I'm ready to change and I need a new perspective. And it's just a wonderful time to say, I can take control of what I can do for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Greg, you'll appreciate this being a runner. Steve Prefontaine said that to give less than your best is to sacrifice the gift. Each one of you has a gift. Each one of you is a gift. And to give less than your best is to sacrifice that gift. So don't sacrifice the gift. Share that gift. Share who you are. There's a reason you are where you are, around the people you are. And it's up to you to live that out. So give it your best.
Yeah.
Give it your best.
That's a good one.
Give it your best. I know. And that may not be a lot right now, right? That may not be a lot, but give it your best.
That made me think of, I was just reading in one of John's books. He said, if God's gift to us is our potential, our gift to God is reaching it, is developing it. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so good. And if you don't know what to do, just do one thing. Like we talked about the 1 minute app. Yeah. Mel and Greg and everybody has given, there's so much here. If I were you, I would figure out a way to get this transcribed and just start going through and writing out all the different tips. And you've got yourself you basically got a life plan laid out for you based off of this episode.
You're welcome. No.
Yes.
And we love it.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about is you being your best self.
Yeah.
Man. All right. Well, the takeaways are, Greg, we're going to set up a weekly time to do this for the everyday leaders. Dennis, your Sundays on your Bible study, we need to know how to get on that, because so powerful.
Absolutely.
Morning devotionals. They can get on to my morning devotionals. They can get on Wednesdays to Greg's Lion's Den, the Weekly Roar at 11 a.m. Eastern, and then the Coffee Connection on Fridays at 9 a.m. Eastern. So we got a lot. We want to give.
Yeah. And follow me. Follow me on Facebook. I do LaRue on the street. I'm out when I can get out on the street, walking and exercising. We get some of our best thoughts when we're exercising.
How about LaRue in the room?
Yeah. Yeah. LaRue in the chair, LaRue on the couch, LaRue on the backyard or the porch.
I sent Dennis a message the other day as we're going through this lockdown and they keep tightening. I'm like, you can shift your spot from LaRue on the streets to LaRue off the streets. Taking off the street, man. Only temporary.
Yes, only temporary. LaRue off the street, LaRue in the backyard. Today's episode, LaRue at the kitchen table.
Oh my gosh. You guys are cracking me up. No, it is so true. But you know what? Here's the thing. We've all got a light down deep inside of us that if it's not shining, it's time. It's time to shine. And you can help so many people by just going, okay, we're going to get through this together. And you can be that leader. You can decide to be that leader. Maybe the first time in your life, maybe, things have looked different for you. And maybe this is your time to step up and lead your community and lead your family and lead your friends. So just do that. That's our challenge for you is you can develop yourself and your life today can start looking so much differently. And when all this starts to turn around, you can have really so much capacity in your life to influence the world and just, feel that confidence and try to reach your potential that you have been given by our creator. So let's do it. Let's get there together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And our creator loves you. He made you. He loves you and wants you to become the best version of you.
Mm-hmm. And it's your freedom. It's your freedom to do that. So don't let anybody stop you at this time. Even your family and friends that may influence you to say, oh, you could never do that. You could never try that. You could never start that. Why would you even think that? Right now, you have no control over what's going to happen. You shouldn't start something like that. You shouldn't invest in yourself. You don't have time, right? You're not worth it. You're not worth it.
That's all programming. That's all programming. One of the hardest things we do is control our circle of influence, our inner circle and those that we surround ourselves with. And even when it comes to your own family, sometimes you have to make the call on that. If the messages you're hearing sound a lot like what Melanie just said, you really need to consider who you surround yourself with, because you need to have positive messages, not seeds of doubt.
Mm-hmm. And it's there. And I think today, being in environments for 3 weeks, right, that you're not been environments with for most of your life, right? You may have spent more time at home with your family than you have the whole year, right? Just the truth. And so what you're beginning to think about yourself or ideas that people are putting in your head may be different. And you may start feeling a lot of stress and tension. So just know that whatever your dream is, you can have that dream. And don't let anybody get in your way. Nobody. Just believe it, step into it, and get someone that can help you think through what the next step would be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's wisdom right there.
Drop the mic.
Where is it? Here,
Here.
drop
Right
the
here.
remote.
Drop it.
Boom.
Look at that. Look at that. The wisdom kids. This has been wonderful. This has been wonderful. My heart is so full today. What a nice surprise for all of us to be here together. And
that was awesome. That was fun.
Oh,
Thanks for letting me crash the party.
Love you from
Oh,
across
absolutely.
the world. This has been wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. So I'll get this loaded. I'll give you guys the raw footage here, if you will, after it gets downloaded, and you can reuse this and share it, because I think what we just talked about was so powerful for so many people, and they need to hear this.
Cool.
So
absolutely.
So thank you guys very much for doing everything that you're doing through all this chaos, and we will plan to send some information out to get back on here and keep people updated. So be safe.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mel, for this. Greg, good seeing you, my friend.
You too, brother. Melanie, thanks for letting me crash.
Hey, I want to congratulate both of you for being new to StreamYard today. Today was your very first day, as Diane would say. Today is the day.
And let me tell you, it was absolutely very simple.
Yes.
Let's dress and boom, I'm in.
Boom. Boom. That's
Love it.
right. That's right. So we're going to continue to do this. If anybody else ever wants to join on these, we can pop people in and out of the green room, as they call it, in the studio. So it's really easy to use if you have things that you want to share, like we did with Jamie's website, to support causes. I am all about that, sharing and celebrating you. So let me know how I can help. And I love you guys. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Greg, thank you for your half of your Saturday. And tell Sam we said hello.
I will. If
All right.
she's talking to me.
Yeah.
Today, I got to go give her some of my time.
Yes.
That was the plan. So I'm going to go give her some more time.
Yes. Give her a
Yes.
big hug. Tell her we love her and stay safe over there.
I will.
All right.
You guys.
Hey, Mel,
Thanks, guys.
thank you so much for posting Jamie's link. I really appreciate that.
Oh,
And Jamie
absolutely.
just said thank you.
You're welcome, Jamie.
I love that. That's really awesome. I'm going to go check them out because, we could use some over here too. Does she ship to APO addresses, Dennis?
I don't think she has, but we've been APO and we know how to do it. So yeah, I would
Cool.
say yes. If
Okay.
I'm wrong, I will let you know.
That's awesome. And we can get donations. People can sponsor this too. So if they want to get a
Absolutely.
gift certificate or buy for a
Love it.
shipment, I think I really want to encourage people to do that because we all need them. The healthcare workers that are saying they only have one, they have to go home and wash it and bring it back. That is just not how we want to operate, right?
No, we sure don't.
Yeah. So let's support everybody that we can.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Mel. Thank you so much.
All right. See you later. Be everyday leaders in your life. Go, 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 go. My
awesome.
team. All right, guys. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.